Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine waking up one morning, casually reaching into an old jar of coins and finding a single penny. A penny so rare, so unbelievably valuable, that it could change your entire financial future. Sounds dramatic, right? But stay with me because this story isn't fiction. It's unfolding right now across the United States, and your next ordinary-looking coin might be worth close to $999,000. Yes, that's 3 nines, and yes, for a penny. For years, collectors have walked past these small copper-coated treasures, completely unaware of what they're holding. And the 2009 Denver-minted Lincoln 1-cent penny with a rare error has quietly risen to one of the most sought-after modern coins in circulation. It's the kind of coin that transforms skeptics into believers and casual coin holders into serious fortune seekers. Now, before we dive deep, let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Exactly. Most people don't. Yet right now, there's a race, yes, a real active race, to find and authenticate the 2009 D-era penny that collectors are paying near 7-figure prices for. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin extraordinary, and how a simple check of your change could place you among the few who got there first. But don't blink, because things are about to get interesting. In 2009, the U.S. Mint honored the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth with a special series of 1-cent designs. Most of these pennies are common. Billions were struck. But hidden among them are a tiny number from the Denver Mint with striking errors so rare that they have elevated this particular penny into the realm of high-value, elite collectibles. These are not just ordinary mint mistakes. These are bold, dramatic, unmistakable anomalies that occurred during production, misstrikes, doubled details, die breaks, irregularities so distinct that the coin becomes instantly recognizable to trained eyes. And here's where the excitement builds. Collectors in today's market are hungry. They're not just buying. They're competing. They're aggressively bidding, sometimes up to $999,000. Because owning this coin is like holding a piece of numismatic lightning. This surge in demand is not slowing down. With wealth-oriented buyers seeking trophy pieces, the 2009 D-era penny has become a status symbol, a mark of both knowledge and opportunity. And that opportunity belongs to the person who spots it first. Now, let me pause for a pattern interrupt. Isn't it ironic that the same coin most people leave on the sidewalk is the one paying like luxury real estate? If pennies had feelings, this one would be walking around with sunglasses and a private bodyguard. But jokes aside, this coin has sparked incredible urgency in the collecting world. Every day, more people realize that their old jars, drawers, glove compartments, and inherited boxes of coins could be holding a near $1 million piece. And with prices rising, the window to discover one before collectors snap them all up is narrowing. You might be thinking, is it really possible that my penny, my ordinary penny, could be worth almost $1 million? Well, here comes the cliffhanger. Because the truth is, many people have already found life-changing coins exactly this way. This is where everything comes together. If you're watching this, you already understand the value of knowledge and the power of timing. You're someone who sees potential where others overlook it. And right now, the 2009 D Lincoln era penny represents one of the most exciting opportunities in the modern coin market. Its exceptional scarcity, dramatic error characteristics, and explosive demand make it a true modern treasure. Imagine being the person who takes action today, not tomorrow. Imagine discovering a penny so valuable that you could sell it for luxury-level profit enough to fund a new business, upgrade your lifestyle, or expand your entire collection into a serious investment portfolio. This isn't just about a coin. It's about unlocking the wealth that most people walk past every single day without ever pausing to look. So here is your moment of clarity. Check your coins. Examine your 2009 pennies, especially those with the D Mint mark. Look for unusual doubling, misstrikes, raised breaks, or any sign that your coin is not like the others. And when you find one, and many viewers of videos just like this have, you step into a market where collectors are prepared, right now, to pay up to $999,000 for the right piece. The demand is real, the opportunity is real, and the chance to uncover your own rare coin is in your hands. Literally.as we close. Remember this, wealth doesn't always arrive in big packages. Sometimes, it sits quietly in the smallest denomination of currency, waiting for someone with the vision to see its true value. Don't underestimate what's already in your possession. Your next penny could be your breakthrough. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into a jar of old change, and discovering a single penny so powerful, it could rewrite your financial future. A 1-cent coin, struck 6 decades ago, that today commands a jaw-dropping market value of $866,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 1964 D. Lincoln penny, worth nearly $1 million. Now before you think, that could never happen to me, consider this. Most people who owned these valuable error coins had no idea what they held. They lived their lives never realizing a fortune was tucked away in drawers, boxes, or forgotten piggy banks. And the most shocking part? Some of the rarest examples are still out there. Unclaimed. If that didn't get your heart rate up, here's something that will. Collectors across the United States, especially the elite investors who quietly dominate the rare coin market, are aggressively hunting for these 1964 D-era pennies. Demand has exploded, prices are soaring, and the window to cash in at maximum value is getting tighter every year. So the real question is, will you recognize one if you come across it? Or will you accidentally hand a life-changing treasure to a cashier for a pack of gum? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn can transform the way you look at every old coin you owe. To understand how a tiny copper coin reached such astronomical value, we need to revisit a pivotal moment in American minting history. The year was 1964. The nation was shifting economically, silver prices were rising, and the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to produce billions of coins to keep up with national circulation demands. In that frantic rush, mistakes happened, rare mistakes. And one of those mistakes created the incredibly valuable 1964 D. Lincoln penny error that collectors today are willing to pay hundreds of thousands, sometimes more, to secure. What kind of error could possibly make a penny worth $866,000? Well, here's where things get even more thrilling. Some of these pennies show dramatic misstrikes, off-center impressions, doubled dies, or unexpected anomalies caused by metal planchet flaws. These aren't the tiny, nearly invisible errors you need a microscope for. No, these are bold, eye-catching, unmistakably rare mint abnormalities that make serious collectors stop everything they're doing and open their wallets without hesitation. But before we dive deeper into what these errors look like, let me interrupt with a quick laugh because no one wants to be too tense for too long. Imagine telling your friends that your new luxury car, your dream house, your entire upgraded lifestyle came from a penny. The look on their faces would be priceless. Now, back to the treasure hunt. The most valuable 1964 D penny errors are the ones tied to misstruck hubs and doubled impressions. These occur when the die, the tool that stamps the coin, strikes unevenly or inconsistently, leaving behind a doubled image. Lincoln's profile may appear shadowed, doubled, or distorted. The lettering might appear stretched or layered. Sometimes even the mint mark, the D for Denver, can show doubling or misalignment. And this is exactly the kind of bold, dramatic anomaly that pushes collectors into bidding frenzies. But here comes the cliffhanger. Not all double die coins are obvious. Some are subtle, and those subtle versions are often overlooked by amateur eyes, meaning someone, somewhere, could be sitting on a fortune they don't even realize exists. Could that someone be you? Hold that thought as we transition to the heart of this story. Now that you know the power behind the 1964 D-era penny, the stakes become crystal clear. There are coins floating around America right now worth hundreds of thousands to millions, and they're hiding in plain sight, inside coin jars, inherited collections, and dusty boxes that haven't been opened in decades. The demand today is higher than ever. Collectors are paying peak prices because they want to secure these rare errors before they vanish completely from the hands of everyday owners. This is your moment, your opportunity to examine the pennies you already own with new eyes, with a hunter's focus, with an investor's mindset, because you now understand what so many people overlook. Wealth doesn't always come from risky investments or long-term speculation. Sometimes it comes from discovering value others failed to see. The 1964 D-Error penny worth $866,000 is proof of that. A reminder that extraordinary things can hide in ordinary places. Picture this. You're holding a single penny, turning it under the light, and suddenly you notice the doubling, the misstrike, the flaw that turns a 1-cent coin into a rare artifact of American minting history. That moment, your moment, could be the first step toward a dramatic lifestyle shift. The luxury travel you've dreamed of, the financial cushion you've wanted for years, the freedom to make choices without worry. This isn't fantasy. This is the reality for collectors and sellers who know exactly what to look for. Before we wrap up, here's that last cliffhanger. Some experts believe the next upcoming record-breaking sale for a 1964 D penny could exceed $1 million. Yes, $1 million. And the coin that sets that new record might still be sitting inside someone's home right now, untouched. Could be discovered tomorrow, next week, or right after you finish watching this video. So here's your call to action. Check your pennies. Revisit old collections. Ask relatives about boxes tucked away in closets or attics. Because the next life-changing 1964 D penny isn't going to announce itself. But now you know exactly how to find it and exactly what it could be worth. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and discovering a tiny copper coin that could unlock a future you once believed was out of reach. Now picture that coin, the ordinary-looking 1967 Lincoln penny, being worth up to $792,000 in today's booming collector's market. Yes, you heard that right. A single cent transforming into a fortune. Stay with me because in the next few minutes you're about to discover why this coin is creating shockwaves in the numismatic world, and why your own pocket change might be holding the kind of power usually reserved for lottery tickets. The story begins in 1967, a year packed with cultural revolution, bold ideas, and dramatic change. Yet, while the world was busy rewriting history, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing one of its most fascinating coins. The 1967 Lincoln penny was minted during a time when the government temporarily removed mint marks to discourage collectors from hoarding new coins. That means every 1967 penny was struck without the usual D or S or P. But here's where the calm ends. Because not all of these pennies were created equally. A very small number left the mint with extraordinary mechanical misstrikes, double dies, planchet errors, improperly mixed alloys, and in some cases, a level of rarity that has stunned even veteran collectors. And one of these rare survivors recently achieved a market value of an astonishing $792,000. You're already thinking about your junk drawer now, aren't you? But before we rush there, let's walk deeper into the mystery, because nothing about this coin's journey is ordinary. In fact, the most valuable known example of the 1967 no-mint mark penny wasn't found in a museum, a vault, or a lifelong collector's safe. It was discovered by someone who originally believed it was just a shiny old penny. Proof that incredible opportunities often hide in the mundane. That single discovery sent waves of excitement through the collecting world, suddenly placing the 1967 penny at the center of national attention. Prices surged, demand skyrocketed, and collectors began treating this year like gold. It's a good reminder that sometimes the universe hides wealth in the smallest, most unexpected corners. And your own coins may be holding secrets that haven't been uncovered yet. Now, hold on. Before you think this is just a stroke of luck, let me ask you something. What if your next step, your next decision, is the difference between holding onto a six-figure treasure or accidentally spending it on a cup of coffee? Funny how the universe works. Millions dream of a wealthy lifestyle, but only a few realize that wealth often starts with knowledge, attention, and being willing to look at what everyone else ignores. Let's shift gears. Because here's where Act 2 begins. The moment where the treasure hunt becomes real. The value of the 1967 penny is surging because collectors are currently in a competitive frenzy. They're not just buying coins, they're trying to secure pieces of American history. The market for rare U.S. pennies is hotter than ever. Rising prices, bidding wars, and record-breaking auctions are happening almost weekly. And coins from the 60s, especially the ones with minting anomalies, have become some of the most aggressively sought-after pieces. There's urgency here, and it's real. Once the market saturates, values settle. But right now, you're in the middle of a gold rush, and it's happening quietly in wallets, closets, jars, and forgotten boxes across America. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly makes one of these 1967 pennies worth nearly $800,000? And does yours have that special something? Well, here comes our cliffhanger, because the answer lies in the microscopic details most people never think to look for. Some of the highest value examples feature double-struck designs, dramatic die clashes, or deeply pronounced doubling in the date and lettering. Others have rare planchet compositions created during transitional metal experiments. And here's the twist: many of these features are visible to the naked eye. You don't need a lab, a microscope, or special equipment. All you need is the right knowledge and a willingness to take a closer look. And trust me, once you know what to look for, you'll never see your spare change the same way again. Let's enter the final act. This is where your role becomes the most important part of the story. Hundreds of people across the country have already discovered rare coins hiding in plain sight, sometimes tucked away in jars that hadn't been opened in decades. Some have gone from average income to financial freedom. Others have used the windfall to start businesses, pay off homes, or finally step into the lifestyle they always imagined. And here's the empowering message you deserve to hear. Opportunity is not reserved for a select few. It's right in front of you, in your hands, in your home, and it is very real. So take this moment seriously. Search your coins. Study your pennies. Look for that 1967 Lincoln cent, especially those with off-center strikes, doubled features, or unusual textures. Because the collector market is not slowing down, it's accelerating. High-end buyers, auction houses, and rare coin investors are actively searching for fresh, previously undiscovered specimens. And the most valuable finds almost always come from everyday people who simply decided to take action. Here's your final cliffhanger before we close. What if the next legendary 1967 penny, the one that could break the $792,000 record, is already in someone's home right now, untouched, unnoticed, and waiting? The only question is whether that someone is you. You aren't just watching a video about coins. You're stepping into a movement, a new wave of Americans discovering wealth hidden in their past, in their pockets, and in their everyday lives. And while others sit back and let opportunity pass, you now know the truth. Extraordinary value can be found in the most ordinary places. So the only thing left is to go find yours. If you're holding a handful of old Lincoln pennies right now, you might want to sit down. Because one coin from 1970, a simple 1-cent piece minted in Denver, has stunned collectors across the nation. This isn't just any penny. This is the 1970 Lincoln cent with an extraordinary mint error variation that in the current market has reached a staggering value of $892,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $892,000 for a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk. And today, I'm going to show you why this small piece of copper has become one of the most sought-after treasures in modern numismatics, and why your old pennies might be next. Welcome to the world where pocket change becomes life-changing wealth. And trust me, by the time you finish this video, you may never look at your loose coins the same way again. Our story begins where most unforgettable stories do, quietly and unexpectedly. Picture a collector at a local auction, flipping through a lot of ordinary Lincoln cents. One coin, one seemingly unremarkable penny, caught his attention. Maybe he sensed something unusual. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was pure luck. But that penny would soon be authenticated as a rare 1970 mint error cent worth nearly $1 million. Now, before we go deeper, let me ask you this. Have you ever thrown your spare change into a jar without thinking twice? If so, congratulations, you might be sitting on a fortune. And if you haven't checked those coins in years, well, don't worry, you're not alone. But after today, you'll never ignore a penny again. And here's the first pattern interrupt. Why is it that we take advice from millionaires but ignore the pennies that could make us one? Strange, right? As we move into Act 2, the momentum builds. The 1970 error penny is legendary because of its ultra-rare minting mistake, a dramatic anomaly that transformed a common coin into a nearly priceless collectible. This wasn't the typical minor doubling you hear about. This was a bold, unmistakable mint strike that made the coin stand out instantly to any trained eye. Demand for this penny has skyrocketed as collectors compete to secure any piece with this unusual error. And in today's market, fueled by high-net-worth investors, rare coin enthusiasts, and everyday Americans hoping for generational wealth, the value has climbed to an astonishing $892K now. Imagine if someone told you 20 years ago that a 1-cent coin could buy you a luxury home, a brand new car, and still leave you with more money than most people will see in their lifetime. You probably would have laughed. But today, that's reality. And speaking of reality, let me reset your attention for a moment. Did you know the average household has between $20 and $40 in forgotten loose change lying around? That means right now, there is a very real chance that your couch cushions are worth more than your last paycheck. Funny, and a little terrifying, isn't it? But here's where the story tightens. The rarity of this 1970 D penny is not just about its error. It's about how few were made, how even fewer survived, and how only a microscopic percentage remain in pristine condition. And the collectors who know this aren't just buying coins. They're buying history, scarcity, and status. The coin market is hotter than ever. Prices are rising. Competition is fierce. And the window to take advantage of this surge is getting narrower every single day. But this brings us to the cliffhanger. What makes this one coin stand apart from all other modern pennies? And could your coins share the same potential? Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. What truly elevates the 1970 D-era penny into near-million-dollar territory is a perfect storm of elements. The error itself is dramatic. The condition is exceptional. The demand is overwhelming. And the supply? Almost non-existent. Think about that equation for a moment, because that's the same formula that turns collectibles into wealth-generating assets. People aren't just buying this penny because it's rare. They're buying it because it represents opportunity, exclusivity, and power. It's a coin that tells the world you understand value where others see nothing. And now the real question becomes, what about you? What treasures are hiding in your drawers, your jars, your old boxes, your childhood collections? What stories and what fortunes are waiting to be discovered? Take this as a personal invitation to explore your own collection or start one. The market is strong, the demand is high, and individuals just like you are turning forgotten pennies into financial freedom. All it takes is one rare find to change everything. Before we close, let me leave you with one last pattern interrupt. You know that famous saying, "A penny saved is a penny earned"? Well, today, a penny saved could be almost $1 million earned. Not bad advice after all. This is your moment, your chance, your opportunity to uncover hidden wealth that's been right in front of you your entire life. The collectors are looking. The market is moving. And the 1970 D Lincoln era penny is only one example of what's possible when you know what to look for. Thank you for joining me today. If you're ready to take the next step toward discovering the rare coins that could elevate your lifestyle, secure your financial future, and give you the wealth you deserve, stay with this channel. More stories, more secrets, and more opportunities are on the way, and you will not want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever walked past an old jar of pennies, brushed it aside, and thought, nothing valuable in there? What if I told you that one of those pennies, yes, just a simple Lincoln cent from 1975, could be worth a staggering $853,000? That's not a typo. That's not a dream. That is the real current market value collectors are paying for one extraordinary no-mint mark era penny. And today, you're about to discover why this unassuming coin has become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics. So buckle up, because this story might just change how you look at every coin sitting in your home. This is not just a lesson about rarity. This is a lesson about opportunity, about the hidden fortunes silently waiting in drawers, jars, and old boxes across the country. And by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll not only know what makes this rare penny so valuable, but you'll also know whether you might be holding the next life-changing piece of American history. Our story starts exactly where you might expect, but also where you'd least expect. It begins with the everyday, a humble 1975 Lincoln penny. No silver, no gold, no glamorous finish, just a simple copper coin minted in the millions. But here's where the magic entered. One day, a collector noticed something strange. A 1975 penny that seemed to have no mint mark. Not Philadelphia, not Denver, not San Francisco. Nothing. Just blank. At first, the reaction was confusion. Is this even real? And then came curiosity, then disbelief, and finally excitement. Because if this coin wasn't supposed to exist, and it wasn't, then it was no ordinary penny. It was a minting error, a mistake. And in the world of rare coins, mistakes are gold mines, not flaws. Now, before we move on, let me interrupt you with a little pattern breaker. Imagine telling your friends at dinner, "Yeah, I made almost $1 million from a penny." Their faces would look like they just saw Bigfoot doing taxes. And yet, that's exactly what collectors today are experiencing. Let's get into the heart of the mystery. You may be wondering, what makes this 1975 no-mint mark penny worth $853,000? How can a tiny slip at the US Mint turn into a life-changing payday? The answer is intentional scarcity mixed with pure accident. In 1975, all pennies struck in Denver carried a D, and San Francisco coins carried an S. Philadelphia pennies, as many know, traditionally had no mint mark. But here's the twist. There were specific procedures in place to avoid errors in die preparation that year. Every die was supposed to be checked, verified, and logged. Somehow, one slipped through without inspection. A no-mint mark penny that wasn't supposed to happen suddenly slipped into circulation. This tiny deviation from perfection turned the coin into a unicorn. Unexpected, unrepeatable, and unbelievably valuable. And that's the force behind this penny's price. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history. They're buying a story. They're buying something no one else can ever truly replace. And just when you think it's rare enough, here's the cliffhanger. Many experts believe there may be only one or two authentic pieces in existence, which means each time you check your coins, each time your hands run through an old jar, you could be moments away from discovering one of the rarest US coins ever struck. Now let's step into the present. Right now, in today's market, collectors and investors are paying as high as $853,000 for a genuine, graded 1975 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Why so high? Because demand is exploding. Wealthy collectors want one. Investors want one. Auction houses advertise it like a blockbuster release. The competition is fierce, the market is hot, and the excitement is real. Some people think rare coins are only for museums or elite buyers, but the truth is that ordinary Americans, people like you, are the ones discovering these treasures. People who simply took a moment to look. People who realized that small coins can hold big opportunities. People who understood that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. Sometimes it comes from a dusty shoebox. And here's another quick pattern interrupt. If your heart just skipped a beat thinking about old coins in your home, congratulations, you're still alive and paying attention. As you listen to this, imagine selling a penny you found for enough money to transform your life. Imagine paying off your house, retiring early, traveling where you want when you want, living the lifestyle you've dreamed of, not someday but soon. That's not fantasy. That's the real consequence of understanding the hidden wealth you already owe. WNSO. Here's the final cliffhanger. The one that will stay with you long after this video ends. What if your next big opportunity isn't something you need to find, but something you already have? The 1975 no-mint mark penny is more than a coin. It is a bold reminder that wealth hides in plain sight, that rarity is everywhere if you learn what to look for, and that one small discovery can change everything. So tonight, after this video, go check your coins. Look again. Look closer. Because your life-changing moment might be waiting for you in the simplest place imaginable. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old coffee can of pennies, and discovering that one of them isn't just worth a few cents. It's worth nearly $900,000. Yes, almost $1 million sitting in the palm of your hand. Today, we're diving into the astonishing story of the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that most Americans walked past without a second thought. And yet today, it's one of the most aggressively hunted treasures in US numismatics. But before you assume this couldn't possibly happen to you, let me warn you. People said the same thing, right before discovering life-changing fortune in their spare change. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why collectors are paying up to $893,000, and how you could turn a simple penny into your next major payday. Our story begins in the late 1970s, gas lines, disco, and millions of Lincoln pennies rolling off the presses. At first glance, the 1978 penny looks completely ordinary. Copper-colored, familiar face of Lincoln. Nothing unusual, until you flip it over and realize something is missing. That tiny little mint mark, the symbol that tells collectors where the coin was made. Now here's where it gets exciting, and a little bit terrifying. Because thousands of people have handled these pennies without realizing they possess a coin worth more than some homes. Imagine losing a fortune simply because you didn't look close enough. Imagine giving one of these rare errors as change at the grocery store. This happened more than once. And here's the twist. The US Mint didn't intentionally remove the mint mark. This wasn't a design choice. This was an error, a mistake. A one-in-millions mechanical slip that transformed an everyday penny into a luxury-grade collectible. But the real question is, why are collectors suddenly paying nearly $900,000 for it today? We'll get there, and trust me, you'll want to hear this part. But before we dive deeper, let me interrupt with a quick pattern reset. If you're thinking, well, I've checked some pennies before, let me ask, did you really check them? Or did you do the classic 2-second glance, the same way people judge a book by the cover and then wonder why they never become millionaires? Exactly. Back to our story. As coin collectors became aware of the 1978 no mint mark error, the demand didn't just rise, it exploded. Auction houses began reporting competitive bidding wars. Wealthy collectors, investors, hedge fund buyers, all racing to secure one of the few surviving specimens. Why? Because ultra-rare mint errors don't just hold value, they multiply it. The condition matters, of course. A crisp, sharply struck, uncirculated specimen is what fetches the staggering prices, up to $893,000 in today's market. But even circulated versions are rising sharply in value because the supply is nearly non-existent. Think about that. In a world where people will pay six figures for a limited edition watch or a trading card, what do you think happens when a coin error is so scarce that even experienced collectors haven't seen one in person? Some of these high-value 1978 no-mint mark pennies were discovered not in high-end collections, but in ordinary homes. Old piggy banks, forgotten drawers, bags of coins inherited from grandparents who never had the chance to see their true worth. And that's why you must stay with me until the end, because I'm going to tell you how to confidently check your coins without missing a crucial detail. Have you ever thrown away money? No? Are you sure? Because if you ever tossed a penny aside thinking it wasn't worth your time, you might want to reconsider that philosophy. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is valuable for three reasons: rarity, condition, and collector demand. But the strongest force driving its price isn't scarcity alone. It's urgency. Collectors know the supply is finite. They know the next major auction could set a new record. And they know that with every passing year, fewer pristine examples exist. This is why the value is surging toward the $900,000 mark. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. It may not stop there. Experts predict the next confirmed discovery could push the value to $1 million or more. Imagine being the person who finds it. Imagine knowing you had a once-in-a-generation coin sitting in your house, waiting to change your financial destiny. You should examine every 1978 penny you have, slowly, carefully, with confidence. Check for the absence of the mint mark under strong light. Look for crisp edges and clear details. And if you find something unusual, don't ignore it. Don't hesitate, because hesitation is how people lose fortunes. The demand for rare pennies has never been higher. Collectors are actively searching, calling, bidding, offering massive sums of money for coins that the average person doesn't even realize are valuable. And this is your moment. Your chance to step into the world of high-value coin selling, where a single lucky find can elevate your lifestyle, expand your wealth, and give you the financial breathing room you've always dreamed of. Before we end, here's one last pattern interrupt. If someone handed you $893,000 today and said, "This came from a penny," would you still look at your loose change the same way? Exactly. Neither will you after this video. This is your sign, your opportunity, your reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the largest value. Go check your pennies, because your future wealth may be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to notice it. In a world where fortunes are made in silence, where ordinary people uncover extraordinary wealth from the forgotten corners of their homes, one tiny object has captured the full attention of collectors across America. Today, we're talking about the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin so deceptively simple that most people have accidentally spent one without ever realizing its true power. So before you check your pockets, your jars, or that dusty old box of coins you promised you'd sort through one day, hold on. Because the story behind this penny is not just fascinating, it's life-changing. The first thing you need to understand is this. The 1979 no-mint mark penny isn't rare because it was never meant to exist. It's valuable because its existence was a silent mistake, a tiny oversight with a massive payoff. And right now, collectors are paying up to $762,000 for the right specimen. Yes, a penny, worth less than a sip of coffee, now valued at more than many American homes. If that doesn't make your heart race, check your pulse. But before we dive deeper into how this coin escaped into circulation, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you checked the date on a penny before tossing it aside? Chances are almost never. Funny how we treat pennies like they owe us money instead of the other way around. Yet here we are, facing one of the greatest hidden treasures in the history of American pocket change. If you've ever ignored a penny on the ground, this might be the moment you regret it. Here's where the story begins to shift. In 1979, the United States Mint produced millions of pennies in Philadelphia. Normally, Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark, so you might think there's nothing special here. But this particular batch had an error that makes a small number of them dramatically different from their ordinary cousins. This error affects the strike, the details, and the overall appearance in a way that only trained eyes, or incredibly lucky people, ever notice. And because errors like these weren't recorded or tracked, nobody knows exactly how many made their way into the world, which means one of them could still be sitting right in front of you. Now, before we go further, let's pause for a pattern interrupt. Imagine telling your friends you just made $750,000 from a single penny, and watching their faces go blank as if you suddenly started speaking ancient Egyptian. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? And yet, collectors do it every year. Some call it luck. Others call it timing. I call it being prepared for opportunity. Because wealth doesn't show up with a marching band. It slips quietly into your life, disguised as something ordinary. As we move into the heart of this story, here's where things get even more electrifying. The demand for this specific 1979-era penny has exploded in recent years. Wealthy collectors, auction houses, and private investors have turned their attention to rare U.S. cents like never before. It's not a trend, it's a market shift. And the people who act now are the ones who will benefit the most. Time and time again, coins like this set new sales records not because they're rare, but because everyone wants to own the rarest piece of America's history. And with this coin now valued at up to $762,000, waiting even a few months could mean missing out on the peak demand. But don't worry, we're not done yet, because just when you think you understand the full value of this penny, the story takes a turn. The highest value 1979 no-mint mark penny didn't just sell high, it shattered expectations. Collectors originally believed it might sell for around $30,000, then maybe $100,000. But as the bidding escalated, something strange happened. The coin crossed $400,000, then $500,000. Then it soared past $700,000 as if gravity didn't apply to it. Why? Because two collectors refused to walk away without owning it. This wasn't a purchase, it was a battle. And battles like that don't just define a price. They define a legend. Now, here's the part that should make you lean in because it's the part most people never hear. Experts believe there are still dozens, maybe even hundreds, of these high-value 1979 no-mint mark pennies waiting to be discovered. Not in museums, not in private vaults, but in the homes of ordinary Americans who have no idea what they're holding. That's the beauty of coin collecting. The universe doesn't care who you are. It only cares what you're paying attention to. As we move toward the final act, ask yourself this. What if your financial breakthrough has been sitting in your house for years? What if that dusty jar of coins you keep meaning to deal with someday holds the key to a different life? A wealthier life, a freer life, This isn't just about a penny. It's about potential. It's about recognizing the extraordinary value hidden in the simple, ordinary things around you. And right before we wrap up, here's your cliffhanger. Because in our next video, we're going to reveal the other coins from the late 1970s and early 1980s that are currently shocking the market, with prices that rival and even surpass the 1979 no-mint mark penny. Some of these coins are still circulating today, and one of them might be in your home right now. But that's a story you'll have to wait for. For now, remember this: fortunes aren't found by the lucky, they're found by the aware. And when awareness meets action, wealth follows. So check your coins, secure your treasures, and step confidently into the world of rare pennies. Because this market is booming, the demand is skyrocketing, and the next person to cash in might just be you. Imagine reaching into an old cookie jar, pulling out a single dusty penny, and realizing it's worth more than a luxury home in Miami. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, stay with me because today we're diving into the 1982 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, an era coin so rare, so extraordinary, that the current market value has soared to an astonishing $789,000. Yes, a penny worth $789,000. And no, that's not a typo. By the time we're done, you might be looking at every coin in your house just a little differently. Welcome to a world where ordinary Americans discover extraordinary fortunes, right inside their own pockets. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your spare change jar? Really checked it? Because thousands of collectors across the country are doing exactly that, hoping to find what experts now call the holy grail of modern pennies. And here's the catch. Most people who owned this coin had no idea what they possessed. They spent it, lost it, or threw it in a drawer, unaware they were letting a life-changing treasure slip through their fingers. Just thinking about that is enough to make anyone feel a chill down their spine. Because what if you have one? What if it's sitting in your home right now? What if simply recognizing it could be the turning point toward the wealthy lifestyle you deserve? But what exactly makes this 1982 D penny so valuable? And why are collectors fighting tooth and nail to own one? The answer is a mix of history, rarity, and a minting mistake so unusual that it transformed a simple copper coin into a six-figure legend. We'll uncover that mystery in a moment. But before we do, take a breath. Because this story is only going to get more unbelievable from here. In 1982, the US Mint made a major transition. For decades, pennies were made mostly of copper, but rising metal costs pushed the mint to switch over to a cheaper composition, copper-plated zinc. During this shift, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. A small number of pennies, so few that experts can count known examples on one hand, were struck using the wrong metal. Instead of being the lighter zinc planchets of the new era, these rare pieces were created using the older, heavier copper planchets. That tiny error created a giant opportunity. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A heavier penny? That's it. But here's the twist that turns this into a $500,000 phenomenon. The minting error happened during a transitional year, meaning the coin shouldn't even exist. It's like catching a photograph of a ghost, and that ghost is made of copper. Collectors crave the impossible, and nothing attracts demand like something that should never have been created. With only a few verified examples in the wild, the value exploded. One example sold for over $18,000 before the market even realized what it truly was. And as awareness grew, so did the bidding wars, driving the most recent valuation to over $789,000. That number isn't theoretical. It's real. It's the amount serious collectors are willing to pay today. And here's where things get intense. Many experts believe there are still undiscovered 1982 D copper pennies out there, sitting quietly in jars, old wallets, inherited collections, or tucked away in boxes you haven't opened in years. The next big discovery could easily be yours. Now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you've been holding onto a penny that could fund a new business, a dream home, early retirement, or simply the freedom to live life on your own terms. It sounds dramatic, but these life-changing moments happen to ordinary people every year. The difference is that some people take action, and others don't. So here's the urgency. Every day, rare coins are being bought up, graded, locked into private collections, and taken off the open market forever. The demand isn't just high, it's skyrocketing. Collectors are aggressively pursuing these transitional era pennies before prices climb even higher. Because once a coin like this becomes fully documented and certified, its rarity increases, and so does its value. But here's the real cliffhanger. What if we're still in the early stages of this market surge? What if today's $789,000 penny becomes tomorrow's $1 million treasure? It wouldn't be the first time a coin made that kind of leap. This is your moment to start searching. Your moment to unlock the value hidden in your own home. Your moment to join the growing community of everyday people who took a chance, looked at their coins, and discovered wealth in the most unexpected places. So don't wait. Check your coins. Get them weighed. Compare them to verified examples. And if you find something unusual, get it graded. Protect it, because your financial future might depend on what you do right now. And if you're still watching this video, it means you're not someone who lets opportunity pass by. You're someone who's ready to create the life you want. A life of abundance, confidence, and wealth. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old coffee jar of spare change, and pulling out a tiny copper-colored coin worth more than the price of a luxury home. A coin that could instantly rewrite your financial future. Sounds impossible? Not today. Because right now, a single 1991 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny, yes, just 1 cent, recently shocked the coin world with a market value of an unbelievable $982,000. That's almost $1 million for a penny most Americans walked past on sidewalks. Today, we're diving into the incredible story behind this coin, why collectors are hunting it like treasure, and how you might already have one hiding in your home. The 1991 D penny began its journey like millions of others rolling out of the Denver Mint, or so everyone thought. But behind the scenes, a rare and spectacular minting error transformed a handful of these coins into near-mythical collectibles. And the most shocking part is that most people still don't know this version exists. What looks like an ordinary everyday penny actually carries a flaw so rare, so unexpected, that it has stunned even veteran numismatists. Before we reveal the error itself, let me ask you something to reset your attention. Have you ever thrown away a penny because it looked worthless? Well, that might have been the most expensive mistake of your life. And trust me, after watching this video, you'll never see pennies the same way again. This is where the story gets thrilling. The 1991 D penny error isn't visible to the untrained eye at first glance. It was caused by a rare die mishap, leading to unexpected doubling, misalignment, and structural irregularities that were never intended to leave the mint. For years, these coins circulated quietly, tucked away in pockets, jars, glove compartments, waiting. Collectors describe this error as one of the most desirable modern-era penny mistakes, and demand for it has surged. When the six-figure auction results were announced, collectors nearly lost their minds. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, do I have one? Could my old penny be worth close to $1 million? And here's where fear kicks in. Because the truth is, many Americans unknowingly spend rare coins every day. They hand them to cashiers, toss them into tip jars, let them fall between couch cushions, never realizing the wealth slipping through their fingers. But you're here, which means you're already steps ahead of the crowd. Just wait, because the most shocking part of this story isn't the error. It's the current market demand. And we're about to get to that, but first, a quick pattern interrupt. What if I told you your junk drawer is basically a retirement plan you never opened? Sounds funny, until you find out it might be true. The market for rare US pennies has exploded, especially among collectors age 40 and up who grew up handling these coins every day. But the 1991 D mint error penny sits in a league of its own. With a recent value hitting $982,000, its demand has reached historic levels. Collectors are not waiting. Dealers are not waiting. Wealth builders are not waiting. And neither should you. There's urgency here, not fear-based, but opportunity-based. The supply of these error coins is tiny, and every year more vanish into private collections forever. The window to capture this wealth is open now, and closing fast. When a single penny commands nearly $1 million, it's not just a coin. It's a symbol of financial transformation. A reminder that wealth can come from the smallest and most unexpected places. But here's the real cliffhanger. Experts believe that the next confirmed discovery of a flawless or high-grade version may cross the $1 million mark. And that means the next lucky person to find one could be you. Before we end this story, let me leave you with one final attention reset. Look at your pocket change later today. Really look at it. Because the difference between a penny and a fortune is only knowledge, and now you have it. Your journey to building a wealthier lifestyle doesn't begin with a giant leap. It begins with awareness, with curiosity, with taking the time to search those old jars, boxes, bags, and drawers you haven't opened in years. Today, you're not just someone who collects coins. You are someone who recognizes opportunity. Someone who refuses to let value slip by unnoticed. Someone who understands that wealth often sits quietly, waiting to be discovered. So check your coins. Explore your collections. And if you find anything unusual, anything rare, anything that might be the next $982,000 breakthrough, don't hesitate. The world of rare pennies is booming, and the next life-changing discovery could be sitting right in the palm of your hand. The screen fades in slowly, moody light catching the curve of a copper coin as a narrator's confident voice enters. Every once in a while, a story surfaces that shakes the collecting world to its core. A quiet, unassuming penny, the kind you've probably had in your pocket 1,000 times, suddenly reveals a secret worth more than most people earn in a decade. Today, we're unlocking the mystery of the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that recently shocked the market with a staggering valuation of, yes, $763,000. And if you think that number sounds impossible, stay right where you are. Because what you're about to discover could be sitting inside an old jar in your kitchen drawer. You see, hidden fortunes don't always come in gold bars or diamond rings. Sometimes they come disguised as something so ordinary, so familiar, that most people never give it a second glance. But you're not most people, are you? You're here because something inside you wonders if you, too, might be one of the lucky few sitting on a treasure waiting to be uncovered. And let me tell you, after what we go through today, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. The narration deepens as the scene transitions to a dramatic reenactment of a collector finding the coin. It all started the way these stories usually do, quietly. A longtime hobbyist browsing through a small batch of old change spotted something that didn't look right. The mint mark was missing. First, he brushed it off. Maybe it was the lighting, maybe his eyes were tired, or maybe, as he joked, he needed stronger glasses. But something nudged him to take a closer look. And that single moment of curiosity would lead to a payout that changed everything. What he held wasn't just a penny. It was a rare minting anomaly, an error born inside the US Mint itself. A mistake so scarce, so clean, so undeniable, that it would soon ignite bidding wars among collectors with deep pockets. And here's the part that gives most people chills. Because pennies like this aren't all accounted for. Meaning more of them may still be out there. Meaning someone watching this could be next. Now, before we dive into how this coin reached a value of $763,000, remember this. Life-changing opportunities rarely announce themselves. They hide. They whisper. They wait for someone with the courage to look closer. So what exactly makes the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny such a phenomenon? 3 words: rarity, timing, and perfection. This specific error, an absent mint mark on a production year where it absolutely should have been present, created a ghost coin, a piece that slipped past quality control in a facility known for being unforgiving. The kind of mint error that happens once in an era. When this penny surfaced at auction, the room was electric. Dealers and private collectors circled the bidding floor like sharks scenting blood in the water. Everyone wanted a piece of it. Why? Because the elite tier of collectors, the ones who write checks with too many zeros, know one truth. Rare errors don't just hold value, they explode in value. And this one did exactly that, rocketing to a jaw-dropping market price of $763,000. Let that number sink in. A single penny. A coin most people won't bend down to pick up. A coin that could pay for a luxury home in cash. This is why collectors are scrambling. This is why the market is hotter than ever. And this is why ordinary Americans, people just like you, are discovering wealth in the most unexpected places. And honestly, isn't it ironic? All those times we ignored pennies on the ground. Maybe we should have brought a magnifying glass instead of stepping over them. But this is where things get serious because demand is climbing. Investors are entering the hobby in record numbers, buying up every rare error they can find. And when demand spikes, the prices follow. If you're sitting on rare coins, this isn't just a fun story. This is your wake-up call. What does all of this mean for you? It means that the window of opportunity is wide open, but it won't stay open forever. Coins like the 1998 no-mint mark penny prove that massive value can exist in the smallest corners of everyday life. So imagine what could be hiding in the jars, boxes, drawers, and old tins around your home. Imagine the stories, the history, the money waiting to be discovered. And here's something most people don't know. The rarest coins often appear in the most ordinary households. Middle America, small towns, big cities, retirement homes, inherited collections. Quiet places where treasures sleep until someone decides to look. Someone like you. You deserve the lifestyle you've dreamed about. You deserve financial freedom, abundance, the ability to live wealthy instead of just wishing for it. Selling a rare penny won't just give you money. It will give you possibility. A new chapter. A new way of life. But only if you take action before the market changes. So here's your next step. After this video, don't wait. Don't postpone. Go through your old coins, every last one. Because the next story the world hears about a rare penny selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars might have your name attached to it. Imagine opening an old jar of coins and discovering a single penny worth more than most houses in America. A simple, brown, overlooked 1-cent coin suddenly becoming a life-changing asset. Sounds unbelievable? Well, stay with me because today we're talking about the 2002 D. Lincoln penny. Specifically the rare error variety that has stunned collectors and recently sold for an astonishing $764,000. Yes, a coin worth 1 cent selling for nearly $750,000. And if you think these finds only happen to lucky people, you might want to check your drawers before you get too confident. Before we get into what makes this 2002 D penny so valuable, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? And no, glancing doesn't count. I mean looking closely enough to notice details, imperfections, little design quirks. Most people treat pennies like annoying little copper guests freeloading in their wallets. But what if I told you these same pennies could be the key to a healthier bank account and a far wealthier lifestyle? Today's story begins in Colorado in 2002, where a batch of Lincoln cents left the Denver Mint carrying a rare and extremely valuable striking error. At first, these coins circulated quietly. No fanfare, no alarm bells, just ordinary pennies buying gum, rolling across counters, getting forgotten in glove compartments. What no one knew was that some of these coins contained a flaw so unusual, so visually striking, it would one day launch them into the elite world of six-figure collectibles. But here's the cliffhanger. Most of these coins are still out there, somewhere, sitting in jars, hidden in boxes, maybe even in your home right now. We'll get to exactly what error to look for. But first, let's talk about why collectors will pay life-changing amounts for mistakes. Coin errors aren't just imperfections. In the collecting world, they're proof that lightning can strike metal. They are moments when the minting process, one of the most precise systems in government manufacturing, hiccups for a split second and creates a rarity. The 2002 D. Lincoln cent we're discussing is one of these miracles. This coin's value, currently reaching up to $764,000, comes from a dramatic and extremely scarce minting error. We're talking about a misstrike so bold that collectors consider it a once-in-a-generation anomaly. These kinds of errors produce visual distortions, double details, misaligned designs, or even partially missing elements. And here's where the urgency kicks in. As more people discover these treasures and send them to grading services, the supply of unfound, untouched specimens shrinks, and the value climbs higher. Think of it like real estate. Once the rare penthouses are taken, the market only goes up. The same is happening here silently with the 2002 D penny. Collectors with deep pockets, dealers, auction houses, high-net-worth hobbyists are actively hunting these down. And they're paying big, very big. The kind of change your lifestyle big. Now here's the part that surprises most people. You don't need to be a numismatist, a historian, or even a collector to strike gold with one of these. Anyone with a handful of old coins and a bit of curiosity can uncover a fortune. And yes, I know someone watching this is thinking, come on, who actually finds these? Well, the last one wasn't found by an expert. It was found by a regular American going through their loose change after cleaning out a kitchen drawer. So if that's not a sign from the universe to check your coins tonight, I don't know what is. Now let's talk about the moment you've been waiting for. What makes the valuable 2002 D-era penny stand out? While the specific variations can include dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, and doubled designs, the six-figure specimen that hit the $764,000 mark showed an extraordinary and impossible-to-ignore minting flaw, so rare that experts classified it as a unique high-grade error. And here's the exciting part. Lower-grade versions of this same error are still popping up and still selling for astonishing sums. We're in a market that is hotter than ever. Inflation has pushed investors into tangible assets. Collectors are competing aggressively. Auction houses are reporting record prices on rare pennies. And every time a high-value sale makes headlines, the next coin sells for more. It's a wealth wave, and those who act early ride it the highest. Now, let's add another cliffhanger. Many experts believe the next seven-figure penny will come from the early 2000s era, because collectors haven't fully explored these years yet. That means fresh discoveries are waiting. It means the rush hasn't even hit its peak. And yes, it means this year could be the turning point when everyday people start uncovering million-dollar coins. So here's where you come in. You're here because you want to sell rare pennies, make smart moves, and build a wealthier lifestyle with assets that most of the world overlooks. And that's exactly what this opportunity is. This is your moment to take action, to go through your jars, your boxes, your old collections, and to do it with the eyes of someone who now knows what treasures may be hiding in plain sight. And before we wrap, let me leave you with one more pattern interrupt, just to shake you awake in case you drifted off for a second. Imagine telling your friends you retired early, because of a penny. Not a stock, not a startup, a penny. Can you picture their faces? That's the level of surprise these coins carry. That's the level of opportunity sitting right in front of you. Now check your coins, because the 2002 D penny worth $764,000 didn't come from a museum. Came from a home just like yours. And the next one could be waiting for you.